everyone, and welcome back to The Rundown. I will be your host today, Craig DeLuz, coming at you from the West Coast, the left coast, behind the Iron Curtain, otherwise known as the Sierras, and today is Taco Tuesday.
It's raining tacos from out of the sky. Tacos, no need to ask why. Just open your mouth and close your eyes. It's raining tacos.
It's raining tacos out in the street. Tacos, all you can eat. Lettuce and shells, cheese and meat. It's raining tacos. Yum, 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 yummity yum. It's like a dream. Yum, 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 yummity yum. Bring your sour cream.
Oh, that's right. Today is Taco Tuesday. We're having a good time. Want to start off today's show with an apology about yesterday. Unfortunately, about 15, 20 minutes before the show got ready to go live, had the plumber show up because we were in the midst of a plumbing emergency and I needed to be available. And obviously, if I'm here talking with y'all, I'm not necessarily available for the plumber. And trust me, this plumbing emergency needed to be handled. Just saying. So technical difficulties, yada, yada, yada. Didn't get a chance to catch up with you tomorrow. So that's why, by the way, a couple of our items today are really kind of from yesterday. I thought about skipping them, but I'm like, you know what? No, we got to talk about the Super Bowl halftime show. Got to talk about the U.S. skiers. So I figure we're going to talk about those today. So if you're already all talked out on those, we got a couple of other issues we're going to be talking about today. But other than that, we're going to have a really good time. Mike, unfortunately, got called in, so he is not going to be available for us. But I know you're here. Right, you're here, I'm here, so I know that we are going to have a very, very good time today. Gonna have a lot to talk about. Definitely have a lot to talk about. But before we do, we're gonna do that thing that we usually do. That's right, we usually start off the show with a quick shout out to our sponsors. And I'm gonna get that thing set up right here so that y'all will know. There we go. Bam. Okay, so we're gonna start off here with quick shout out to the folks over at Hitman Industries. Now, Hitman Industries makes rifle and pistol caliber barrels available for you to purchase at any length. If you've purchased an AR in the last few years, there's a good chance you already have one of their barrels, which means you probably like it. So why not get another one? Whether you're looking to do a brand new build or you're looking to rebarrel your old rifle, start your journey, start your experience with Hitman Industries. And then we've got the California Republican Assembly working to help elect conservatives at all levels of government, from school board all the way up to President of the United States. Ronald Reagan once referred to CRA as the conscience of the Republican Party. You need to find out why. Go to their website, cragop.org. That's cragop.org. If you want to be a part of California's future today, you got to join CRA. And then we've got the best in concealed carry tactical holsters that are available on the market. You will find them at hogholsters.com. That's HAWG holsters.com. Why do they spell it that way? Because they like helping Americans wear guns. They like it so much, they're going to give you a discount. All you have to do is use the discount code The Rundown. All caps, no spaces, one word, just like it is right up there. And you're going to get a nifty little discount when you buy your Hog holster. And then finally, if you have a group, if you have an agency, if you're part of a team, you're the purchasing agent for your department and you need tactical gear, you need outdoor gear, you need camping gear, you name it, they have got it. In fact, they have all things tactical except the gun at uscombatgear.com. Once again, they specialize in group sales. They have a huge selection. They have competitive pricing and the best customer service available on the market. Won't you find out at the place where you can find all things tactical except the gun, uscombatgear.com. All right, I had to talk about the Super Bowl. And the reason why was because the game itself was rather boring. I mean, let's just be honest. I think any of us who follow the NFL or follow professional football going into this game knew Seattle had an awesome defense, and they were gelling it at the right time. And while I have a lot of confidence, and I think that Drake May, the quarterback for the Patriots, is going to be a superstar in this league. I have no doubt that he is going to be a superstar in this league, or at least a star. How about that? We'll just say a star, a Pro Bowler, right? He's going to be somebody in this league. He, in and of himself, was not going to be enough because he can't block for himself. He can't catch the ball himself. He can't. I mean, I suppose he could run, but who's he going to hand it off to, himself and then run? They just didn't have the horses necessary for them to be able to be successful in this game, and it showed. It seriously showed in the overall performance of the game. But anyway, but that wasn't where the controversy was. The controversy was the halftime show, and it was a halftime show that, well, how do we want to put this? It was about as, in my opinion, as anti-American as you could possibly get. When I say anti-American, I maybe not saying it was not for an event that is the American sport. Okay, baseball may be our national pastime, but the sport of America, the most popular sport by far, more than baseball, more than basketball, more than soccer, more than mixed martial arts, more than MMA, more than the UFC, is the National Football League. And the game that culminates all of that is the Super Bowl, right? The Super Bowl is the game that culminates all of that. And so why? When you figure, okay, so many Americans are going to be watching this game, right? You figure most of your audience, probably easily 75 to 90% of your audience speaks English only. Why would you have a halftime show where they spoke only Spanish? In fact, the only English that was spoken was when Mr. Bad Bunny decided to say, "God bless America." Although, let's be honest, he wasn't really talking about America. He was talking about the Americas.
God bless America. Sea Chile, Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay, Bolivia, Perú, Ecuador, Brasil, Colombia, Venezuela, Guyana, Panamá, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, México, Cuba, República Dominicana, Jamaica, Haití, las Antillas, United States, Canadá, and my motherland, mi patria, Puerto Rico. Seguimos aquí. ¡Ahora sí! De cuando te tuve, debí darte más besos y abrazos.
Okay, now I'm just going to start with this. Number one, I just realized, and once again, I've never heard any of Bad Bunny's music, probably because I don't speak Spanish, and so I don't listen to a lot of Spanish language music. Although I will say this, I love salsa music, I love Latin jazz, I love Latin music in general. Having said that, if you're going to have a show, once again, that is for the most watched event in the world, right? The most watched event in the world, in particular mostly by people in the United States of America. Wouldn't you want to do it in a language that most of your audience that is going to be watching, that is going to be speaking? Is that not something that you would want? The answer in this case is evidently not, and that's exactly what the NFL, I guess, seemed to be going for. It says here, video, Bad Bunny ends Spanish-only Super Bowl halftime with political immigration message. The much-awaited Bad Bunny Super Bowl halftime show closed with Puerto Rican rapper delivering a pro-immigration political message written on a football as reaction comes in to blast the terrible show in a language most football fans can't understand. The Latin-themed show featured dozens of dancers performing Latin-styled steps in a tropical flora setting, and featured cameos by singer Ricky Martin and Lady Gaga. As per his sworn practice, the left-wing anti-Trump rapper, whose real name is Benito Antonio Martinez Ocasio, sang only in Spanish, and he ended his set with a political message. Just ahead of walking off the field at the end of the NFL halftime show, the rapper held up a football on which was written a message, "Together we are America." And so what he's trying to say here is that all of these countries make up America, not or the unit. Now the funny part is they make up the Americas, but not America. And I think it's very important to understand that just because he's referring to all of the countries in the Western Hemisphere, right? That all of us make up America. And that is bunk. That is just not true, because there is one country, one nation in particular that stands out, and I'm very comfortable in saying stands out above all of the rest. And that is because of the difference in the culture we have between Puerto Rico, between, although Puerto Rico is part of the United States, but the culture in many of the Latin American countries, and quite frankly, in a lot of Canada, well, let's just be honest, it ain't us. It ain't our culture. It's not consistent with our culture. And part of our culture is the fundamental understanding that the language that we speak is English. Anyway, here's some of the responses that you got from some of the folks out there. Here you have Matt Walsh. Well, I'm not the biggest fan of him. He can tend to be a pretty negative Nelly. It says here, having a halftime show for your biggest game of the year in a language almost none of your lifelong fans can understand, while waving flags of countries that none of them are from, is the biggest FU that I've seen by a corporation to its own customers. I would tend to agree with that. Here's Clay Travis. Would any other country in the world have their signature cultural event in a foreign language? I legit have no idea what just happened. Of course, we have no idea what just happened because most of us don't speak Spanish. This is Anton Sakharov. As an immigrant, I am super confused. Why is Super Bowl halftime show not in English? Isn't this an American game? Yes, it is an American game, and it should have been in English. They should have at least had subtitles so we could understand what the heck they were saying. Brian Leib. I live in America. I speak English. This halftime show is an utter disgrace to American people. We speak English in America. Now, while it is not the official language, although actually now it is the official language, President Trump has signed an executive order back in March making it the official language, but it's pretty much been the de facto language of the United States. And to not have anything in English except God bless America and then misrepresent America, there's something wrong with there. Having Bad Bunny do the Super Bowl halftime show entirely in Spanish in the United States is like playing the national anthem in Chinese at the World Series or replacing the hot dogs on the 4th of July with tofu. It's just not right. NFL disrespected the fans and the country, and I happen to agree with them. And here's the funny part. So then you have those folks on the left, like Morning Joe, who, well, let's just put it this way. He decided he wanted to come out and defend Mr. Bad Bunny.
You're getting the biggest artist in the world. And if you're the NFL and you like capitalism, why not? So I don't know why these socialists hate capitalism so much, and they hate a company doing what's best for their bottom line, but they obviously do. I feel sorry for them. Maybe they should read some Noam Chomsky, because this is American capitalism at its.
All right, so here when he talks about American capitalism, here's the deal. The reason why they did this was because the company that put up the most money, put up almost over something like $50 million to sponsor the halftime show, was Apple. Apple wanted Big Bunny. They wanted Big Bunny because they were going to be featuring his music. They wanted people to download his music from their Apple podcast. They wanted him streaming it on their Apple Music. And guess what? He saw Bad Bunny saw a 400% increase in the downloading and streaming of his music following the Super Bowl. And when I say 400%, I mean, normal, like 1 or 2 days. So he saw a significant use. And so that was the whole goal behind it. It was a function of realizing that, they weren't interested in us, the viewers. They were trying to make their advertiser happy, the person who was paying for the halftime show. Now, having said all that, they in the midst of it, they completely and utterly disrespected their fan base. They did. They completely and utterly disrespected them. And the funny part is, and this is the funny part about all of it, though, is that, they actually opened the door. First of all, when they announced that they were going to be doing this, they opened the door for TPUSA to do their own thing. And Turning Point USA decided to host their own halftime show. And at their halftime show, they got something like 26 million people. I don't know how many people watched it live, but last I checked, something like 26 million people had watched it at their YouTube channel. In fact, let me go there now, YouTube, and I'm going to pull up TPUSA halftime show. TPUSA halftime show. Let's see. How many people have watched it? Okay, so so right here it's saying just on the, trying to think here, any place else? Okay, because there's a couple of different places. Okay, so there's a couple of different places where it was streaming, right? So you could watch it at Charlie Kirk's, 4.1 million people watched it. You had it live. You had it live at TPUSA. They had 21 million. And then another one had another million. So they had about 27 million people have watched it. Have watched the show. Now, mind you, they literally just did this last minute. So to have that many people watch your halftime show, to tune out of the Super Bowl in order to watch something else is a pretty big deal. And we also know that it's a pretty big deal because in the end, which artist turned out to do better? Well, it turns out that while Bad Bunny did pretty well, a new media victory, Kid Rock tops Bad Bunny on iTunes chart after halftime face-off. Let me read this a little bit here from Breitbart. It says, on the day after TPUSA's All-American halftime show, Kid Rock zoomed to the #1 spot on iTunes with his rendition of Till You Can't, knocking Bad Bunny out of the top spot despite the Puerto Rican rapper's appearance as the star of the NFL Super Bowl halftime show. And here are the ratings right here. So you literally had the top two. One, I think, is the original version of Till You Can't Wait by Cody Johnson, but then you had Kid Rock's version, Till You Can't Wait, was also their #1. So, and by then that was kind of the feature song that he did. So in the end, it's worked out pretty well for TPUSA. It's worked out pretty well for Kid Rock. And to be honest, it worked out pretty well for Bad Bunny because he got to get up there and make a political statement. Although I think the one group that is going to suffer from this to a degree is going to be the NFL. But, we forgave the NFL for all of their BLM crap. We forgave the NFL for the kneeling. I think that in the end, their attitude is there will be short-term blowback. But in the end, we'll win them back. And I think it's kind of like they think they can keep screwing over their base. And, in the end, we're going to be back. That's all I can ascribe it to. That's got to be what they're thinking is they figure that they can keep being anti-American and the American people are going to keep coming back to them. I don't get it. I really don't get it. I love football. I love the NFL. I don't love, well, let me clarify. There's a lot of things about the NFL organization I hate, but I like professional football. And, I tuned out during the halftime because as soon as I realized I didn't mind watching Bad Bunny because I never heard him before. It was the first chance to really kind of hear his music. But if I don't understand what you're saying, you might as well be doing the Kendrick Lamar mumble rap. Because it doesn't mean anything to me because I can't understand what you're saying. And at least Kendrick Lamar was pretending to speak English. Bad Bunny wasn't even trying to speak English. And therefore, I don't listen to his music, and I will not listen to his music, especially once you go through. I've heard some of the things, and I've kind of heard some of the transcripts or some of the transcribing, or in what's the word I'm looking for? Interpretation, translation. There you go. Translation is the word I'm looking for, of some of the things that his music is. And I'm like, yeah, I don't need that. I don't need any part of that. I'm better off for not understanding or knowing what dude was saying. Makes my life a lot better. Anyway. So that's it for that one. So yeah, and largely I think that the NFL needs to you need to get out of politics, man. Stop it. Stop doing this. There's a reason why the NBA is just no one's watching. There's a reason why people are stopping watching Major League Baseball, and it's largely because of stuff like that. Not largely, significantly. I'll say significantly. I won't say mostly, but I will say significantly. People don't want politics in their sports. And just like they don't want politics in their just like they don't want them in their Olympics, right? They want you to go there, represent America, represent American excellence, shut up and ski. And sadly, these individuals were not capable of doing that.
I feel heartbroken about what's happened in the United States when, I'm pretty sure you're referencing ICE and some of the protests and things like that. I think that as a country, we need to focus on respecting everybody's rights and making sure that we're treating our citizens as well as anybody with love and respect. And I hope that when people look at athletes compete in the Olympics, they realize that that's the America that we're trying to represent.
I think it brings up mixed emotions to represent the U.S. right now, I think. It's a little hard. There's obviously a lot going on that I'm not the biggest fan of, and I think a lot of people aren't. I think for me, it's more I'm representing my friends and family back home, the people that represent it before me, all the things that I believe are good about the U.S. I just think if it aligns with my moral values, I feel like I'm representing it. Just because I'm wearing the flag doesn't mean I represent everything that's going on in the U.S. So yeah, I just kind of want to do it for my friends and my family and the people that support me getting here.
All right, now some folks are starting to realize the error of their ways. For example, one of the American skiers says he loves this country. It says your American skier Hunter Hess decided that a press conference ahead of the 2026 Milano Cortina Winter Olympics was the perfect time to air his grievances with the United States of America. It didn't go well, and Hess has now basically backtracked from his initial commentary. I love my country, Hess posted on Monday on Instagram. There is so much that is great about America, but there's always things that could be better. One of the many things that makes this country so amazing is that we have the right and the freedom to point that out. I cannot represent Team USA I cannot wait to represent Team USA next week when I compete. That's a nice sentiment, although it was probably written by someone with the title of public relations specialist. That's where we are in 2026. An athlete says something dumb, receives pushback, and then someone in PR team constructs a pseudo apology. See Simone Biles. Well, exactly. Because here's the thing, folks. You may not like everything about America. And so when you say you have mixed emotions, I'm going to say this. It is America, it is everything that America is that gave you the ability to represent us on an international stage. You would not have the resources, you would not have the freedom to be able to represent the United States of America if it weren't for the United States of America. You wouldn't have the ability to get away with saying what you say. Because if you were a Chinese athlete and you said something like that, I guarantee they would disappear you in a heartbeat. If you did that, if you were a Russian athlete, they would disappear you in a heartbeat. The thing that gets me the most is the fact that some of these positions that they have are based on disinformation and lies. And you are too dumb to realize it. You're either too dumb, ignorant, or willfully ignorant, which willfully ignorant is also dumb. I say willful ignorant because if you don't know because you've been misinformed, well, guess what? Then you need to take the time to find out. Because you have people up there saying, oh, well, they're disappearing citizens. What citizens are disappearing? I want you to understand this, folks. And let me just lay this out there for you. A grand total of 170 American citizens have been detained. Only 40 of them for more than a day. A grand total out of 600,000 people who have been detained. Do you know what a success rate that is? 99.996. Now, I heard someone on CNN, was it CNN? Yeah, CNN. I think it was Scott Jennings, who said if any other government agency had that level, it got it right, that percentage of the time, we would be throwing them a ticker tape parade. There's no, the number of, here's the thing, not one American citizen has been deported. Unlike the 200, I think it's 53 or 63, something like that, over 250 that got deported under Barack Obama. American citizens that got deported, yeah. So I don't want to hear it. I really do not want to hear it. And you want to talk about those people who are being quote unquote assaulted by ICE agents? How about this? How about you don't throw frozen water bottles at ICE agents? How about you don't throw rocks at ICE agents? How about you don't try to block the streets with your car? How about you don't try to run them over? Yeah, you won't get assaulted if you aren't attacking law enforcement. They won't defend themselves if they don't have something to defend themselves from. But y'all don't care about any of that. You don't care about the tens of thousands of violent criminals that have been taken off of the streets. Violent criminals, people who've committed violent crimes, not including the ones who've been accused of crimes. You don't care about any of them. None of them really matter to you. None of those facts really matter because you're not even going to bother to look them up. And that's the sort of crap that I'm talking about. That's the sort of stuff that bugs me. You should know better. You should. You should know better. The information's out there, but you choose not to look it up because you're going to listen to whatever idiot that you listen to. Because I know if I get one more of you, people out there who send me some rando TikToker. Yeah, you know, the guys on the Chinese spy app. Yeah, you want me to listen to some rando on TikTok? No. Sorry. I got no love for you. Got no love for you. Anyway. Then on top of that, you got judges making decisions, positive decisions, and politicians misrepresenting what those decisions actually are. A judge has rejected California's mask mandate. That's right, California has a new mask mandate, except it's more of a ban than a mandate. It says here, federal judge blocks California law enforcing ICE agents to remove masks during operations. A Los Angeles-based federal judge on Monday blocked California from enforcing its law that would require ICE agents to remove masks during immigration enforcement operations. Judge Christina Snyder, appointed during the Clinton administration, granted a preliminary injunction against the No Secret Police Act, arguing that it discriminated against the federal government by violating the Supremacy Clause. Under the constitutional clause, federal law takes precedence over any conflicting state or local law, rendering the lower law unenforceable. Snyder said the, quote, no secret police, end quote, ruling hinged on California exempting its own state officers while penalizing federal agents. Quote, the court finds that federal officers can perform their federal functions without wearing masks, Snyder said. However, because the No Secret Police Act, as presently enacted, does not apply equally to all law enforcement officers in the state, it unlawfully discriminates against federal officers. Attorney General Pamela Bondi applauds the ruling in a posting on X, saying the federal agents are being increasingly targeted for doing their jobs and warned that the law would have worsened existing safety risks. Now, the funny part about it is you had Gavin Newsom go out and declare victory. He said a federal court just upheld California's law requiring federal agents to identify themselves. California will keep standing up for the civil rights of our democracy. Now, mind you, he's declaring a victory, but the main thing they wanted was the masks. That's not what it said. What it said was they have to identify who they are, so they have to have badges identifying who they are, and I believe the badge also has to have their name, but I could be wrong on that. It says here, Gavin Newsom ripped by LA's top Fed prosecutor, claiming win in ICE masking rules, and he told him basically to stop lying. What exactly did he say? He says, this was in response to the governor's tweet. It says, "That's funny way of saying you lost. A federal judge blocked your anti-masking law because it violated the supremacy clause. These attempts to regulate federal agents are unconstitutional and unforeseeable. Federal agents acting within their duties are immune from state prosecution. Stop lying and misleading the public." Well, let's see. What exactly did it rule? It says here, Los Angeles' top federal prosecutor put Gavin Newsom on blast for misleading the public after he claimed victory over a court ruling that partially blocked the new California law affecting federal law enforcement. Newsom had taken to X on Monday to celebrate an incomplete win after a federal judge blocked a law that would ban federal agents from wearing masks during activity enforcement. U.S. District Judge Christina Snyder did rule in favor of a provision that requires law enforcement officers, federal and state, to wear badges or other identification on their uniforms. So here's the deal, and this is the point here. So in other words, if they had applied this to all officers, like this one, the one requiring them to have the identification applied to all officers. But they singled out and they left out state and local law enforcement. So in other words, they get to wear masks. Just federal agents were not allowed to wear masks. And that's where their case fell apart. And yet and still, you got Gavin Newsom out there trying to pretend like this was a victory for them. Of course he's going to claim victory because Gavin Newsom is a liar. I mean, folks, all of you out there, if you are watching this from someplace other than the state of California, and you've never experienced Gavin Newsom, let me say this to you. Gavin Newsom is a very accomplished liar. When I say liar, his first step is always to answer a question that no one asked. And he'll give you the answer with confidence and with clarity. Once again, answering a question that nobody asked, right? Giving information that no one asked for, and not asking the actual question that was asked. In this particular case, he has no problem sending out a statement, declaring victory over something that no one had an issue with. No one had an issue with that. What they're saying is they don't want them to be doxxed. They don't want them to, they have no problem with them having to identify, like wear their badge, so that you know that they are official law enforcement. What they took issue with every single time was people being able to take pictures of them, people being able to then dox them, dox their families, and threaten their lives and threaten their families. But I don't hear any Democrats, I don't hear anybody having any issues with the people who do stuff like that. Of course you don't. Of course they don't, because, well, they're not really interested in real justice. But we knew that. All right, and that then brings us to this one. I'm kind of hurt that Mike is not here today because Mike drives an F-250. So I needed to ask, does driving an F-250 make you a gay Nazi? Well, according to a guy who does reviews over at the New York Times, evidently it must. And this was a piece, I had to share this with you because this is a piece that's over at the Washington Free Beacon. Does driving a large gas-powered truck make you a gay Nazi? This Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist thinks so. The new Ford F-250 Super Duty has a real Greg Bovino energy, smirks Wall Street Journal auto critic Dan Neal. Okay, I'm sorry, this is the Wall Street Journal. Wow, okay. Journalists are the worst. Even the ones who don't cover politics are often incapable of writing normal sentences without flaunting their sneering disdain for normal Americans. For instance, you might not believe us if we told you that the Wall Street Journal's Pulitzer Prize-winning auto critic recently compared Americans who enjoy large trucks and gas-powered engines to Hermann Göring, the Nazi commander who founded the Gestapo and whose Marshall, and whose martial flamboyance fueled persistent rumors about his sexuality. Well, that's exactly what he did. The opening paragraph of Dan Neal's review of Ford's gas-powered F-250 Super Duty must be seen to be believed, even when it's absurd enough to make you wonder if an editor messed up by uploading the wrong text. Just a totally normal way to start a truck review. And here's how it starts. Russell Crowe's portrayal of Nazi leader Hermann Göring in the film Nuremberg is brilliant but incomplete. Little is made of Göring's outrageous personal style. The power blue, I can't even say that, Rice Marshal's uniform and fur-lined capes, the diamond-crusted badges and batons, the face makeup. Göring's satirical choices raised suspicions among both allies and Nazi high command that he was homosexual. He wasn't, apparently. A later generation of sociologists have made diagnosis of Göring's martial flamboyance as a form of homo-ovatism that is exaggerated and often impractical gender normative dress or behavior intended to signal elite social status. Although the term is clinically obsolete, examples of male peacocking are as close to the nearest bejeweled Petit Philippe sterling silver rodeo belt buckle or jumped up gold-plated pickup. Indeed, there are many examples of behavior intended to signal elite status. In the modern context, few are more obvious than sneering at a pickup and the people who drive them. If your job is to write about cars, certainly the most relevant option. Comparing people who you don't like to Nazis is another classic case. Most people would regard it as obnoxious preening, but such is the cost of asserting one's moral righteousness. So basically, what dude is saying is that, the people who get this truck, clearly they are peacocking. Clearly they are. They might be just like the person who was the founder of the Gestapos. Clearly you must be a gay. You must be a gay Nazi. I don't understand why you would write a car review like this. Why you would? I mean, it makes people wonder why. People wonder why so many of us do not take the media seriously. Well, I take that back. Mike might be a gay Nazi. I don't want to speak for Mike. If y'all get a chance, if you get a chance to message Mike, you see Mike on social media. If you get a chance to tweet him, hit him up, ask him, dude, what's up, man? I hear you driving your F-250. I hear you're a gay Nazi, or you might be, or you're peacocking, or whatever it is. Now, mind you, he does drive an old Ford. But it is a Ford 250. I'm pretty sure it's a Ford 250 nonetheless. Anyway, I pretty much just picked this because I wanted to give him a hard time, and I didn't have time to change the subject before he got back. So, oh well. I'm sorry, Mike, man. You're gonna have to answer for this. Maybe you get a chance to rebut on another show. But anyway, fun stuff. Interesting article. You guys got to give it a read. All right, folks. Well, that now brings us to our parting shots. Parting shots are brought to you by Hog Holsters. Just go to hogholsters.com. Use the discount code The Rundown, all caps, no spaces, one word, and get your Hog holster today. Our first couple of ones here are going to be about the Super Bowl. Let's see here. NBC suffers bizarre technical glitch as entire halftime show broadcast in Spanish. It was not a technical glitch. By the way, this is from our friends over at the Babylon Bee, fake news that you can trust. So, just so you know. Then another one we have here. Support for ICE skyrockets to 99% after a halftime show. Yeah, I can totally see why that would happen. Oh, here's another one from the Super Bowl. Now, this is actually based on some truth here. All right, it says here, Sam Darnold made $178,000 for winning the Super Bowl. That is true. He had to pay $249,000 in California in taxes for being there 7 days. I think that's probably, he's going to have to pay that more. For the one game, anyway, for being there 7 days. So he lost $71,000 for winning the Super Bowl because it's in California. So yeah, money earned in California the taxes have to be paid in California. And if it's like a one-time thing, they take an exorbitant amount. Now, he'll likely get some of that money back when he files his California taxes, because he's going to have to file his California taxes. But yeah, this is what they do to, in particular, athletes who play and don't live in California, but come to California to play a game. That's some of the stuff that those folks have to deal with. And then our last one here is not Super Bowl related, but it is still athletics related. U.S. ski team awarded gold medal for synchronized screaming about Trump. Yeah, and that's pretty much what they did. So screw those guys. Anyway, all right, folks, well, that brings us to the end of our program. But before we go, we're going to give one more quick shout out to our sponsors. First, we've got Hitman Industries, rifle and pistol caliber barrels available for you to purchase at any length at hitmanindustries.net. The California Republican Assembly, otherwise known as the conscience of the Republican Party. Please visit them at cragop.org, because if you want to be a part of California's future today, you got to join CRA. And then we've got the best in concealed carry tactical holsters available on the market at hogholsters.com. That's HAWG holsters.com, because they are helping Americans wear guns. And then finally, we've got the place where you can find all things tactical except the gun. And that would be at uscombatgear.com. All right, folks, that's going to be it for today's program. We very much appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate you liking and sharing the program and encouraging your friends to do the same. We will be back tomorrow on Hump Day. Till then, y'all have fun. Stay safe. We will see you mañana.